The Bible tells us that God knows all things. He knows the end from the beginning. This knowledge extends even to our lives. He knows our choices before we make them. He even knows the number of hairs on our heads. This fact leads many to ask a difficult question. If God already knows what we will do, then do we truly have free will? Are we just puppets acting out a pre-written script? This question has puzzled theologians and philosophers for centuries. It strikes at the very heart of our relationship with God. We long to believe that our choices matter. We want to feel like we are in control of our own lives. The idea that our destinies are predetermined can feel stifling, even defeating. It can make our struggles seem meaningless. If God already knows the outcome, why bother trying at all? This is a serious concern. It can undermine our motivation to live a life of purpose and meaning. However, the Bible offers a different perspective. It teaches that God's foreknowledge does not negate our free will. Instead, God's knowledge encompasses all possibilities and choices. He sees every path we might take. He also sees the path we ultimately choose. This choice is what defines our lives and shapes our destinies. We may not understand the mystery of God's foreknowledge, but we must wrestle with these questions. Our understanding of free will and God's sovereignty depends on it. The Bible is clear that God is not a puppet master. He doesn't force us to act against our will. Psalm 32 verse 8 states, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you." This verse reveals God's desire for a relationship with us. He wants to guide us. He wants to counsel us. But he also gives us the freedom to choose whether or not we will follow. Deuteronomy 30 verse 19 further emphasizes this point. "I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life, that both you and your descendants may live." Here God presents a clear choice, life or death, blessing or curse. He implores us to choose life, demonstrating his desire for our well-being. Yet, the choice ultimately remains ours. These passages highlight the delicate balance between God's sovereignty and human free will. God knows the outcome, but he doesn't dictate our every step. He allows us to walk our own paths, to stumble and rise again. This freedom is what makes our love for him, our faith in him, and our obedience to him truly meaningful. It is in our choices that we reveal our hearts to God. We demonstrate our love for him by choosing his ways. We exercise our faith by trusting his guidance. We show our obedience by following his commands. Think of a wise teacher who has been educating students for many years. This teacher has seen countless students come and go. They have observed patterns and recognized potential in their students. Based on their vast experience, they might have a good idea of how a student will perform in their class. They might even predict the student's final grade with remarkable accuracy. However, does this mean that the teacher predetermines the student's grade? Absolutely not. The teacher's knowledge of potential outcomes doesn't negate the student's effort or choices. The student still has the freedom to study diligently or neglect their assignments. They can choose to engage in class or let their minds wander. The final grade reflects the student's choices and efforts, not the teacher's foreknowledge. In the same way, God's foreknowledge doesn't predetermine our actions. He sees our potential, our strengths, our weaknesses, and our tendencies. He knows the paths we're likely to take, based on our current trajectory. But he doesn't force us down any particular road. Our choices, our actions, our responses to his grace, these are the factors that shape our lives and determine our eternal destinies. If our struggles don't ultimately change the outcome, why do they matter? This is a question that often arises when we grapple with the concepts of divine foreknowledge and human free will. It can be tempting to view our lives as insignificant in the grand scheme of God's plan. However, this perspective misses a crucial point. The journey matters as much as the destination. Our struggles are not meaningless just because God knows how they will end. They are opportunities for growth, for learning, and for drawing closer to God. In the midst of trials, we discover our strength, we develop resilience, we learn to rely on God's grace in ways we never thought possible. James 1 verses 2-4 encourages us to count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Our struggles, though difficult, refine us and mold us into the individuals God created us to be. They deepen our faith and draw us into a more intimate relationship with Him. They demonstrate the authenticity of our faith. When we choose to trust God, to obey Him, to love Him even in the midst of suffering, we reveal the true nature of our hearts. These choices, these acts of faith and love are precious to God. They are not insignificant. They are the essence of a life lived in relationship with Him.